us to talk about focusing on yourself. The reasoning for the video is there's been a lot of conversations coming up in talks and in personal conversations and sessions with clients about this whole idea of turning the focus in on yourself. And what I want to do is kind of explain what I mean by that, and really also to share some experiences from a personal viewpoint, and also from what I've gleaned from speaking to people. If we look at the last couple of videos that I've been doing, they all seem to be following a theme, and one of the themes that has been coming up for myself and a lot of the group is really turning that focus in on ourselves in terms of self-love, self-care. I seem to have attracted, and I can see why, because we only ever really attract ourselves, people who want to try and help people and are always looking to try and help people. And although it comes from a very, very well-intentioned place, what can sometimes happen is that it backfires. It also leaves the person that's trying to help the other person sometimes, energetically completely drained. And it's something I also see a lot in the spiritual community as well, of well-meaning people really trying to help others but neglecting their own needs and their own wants in the process. And this was something that recently came up, and it's kind of created a situation where I started looking more and more at it, as well as the patterns that I'm running in my life, and realizing that I really do just need to focus on myself. That's led to a lot more self-care. That's led to a lot more introspection, and really kind of going inwards as well, and not looking for a solution outside myself, or really just backing off from trying to help everybody and anybody, because like I said, the last couple of videos there's been a bit of a theme, and prior to that what I noticed was I was literally working myself into the ground, and it wasn't healthy, to say the least. So this whole idea of focusing on yourself has felt a bit uncomfortable, because it really means becoming your own best friend. It really means falling in love with yourself and being okay with your own company, and that can be quite hard if you're a people pleaser, or you're someone who wants to help people, who wants to be in the middle of something. And silence and introspection and just really being in your own company can sometimes feel quite daunting. And yet, if we are able to make that transition into focusing on ourselves and making about us, what we find is that we're in a much more happier state. We're much more focused on what really matters for us, and because of that we're showing up for other people as well, because then we're being authentic to ourselves, and we're able to then be as authentic as possible in our interactions with people. And that does lead to, like I said in all videos, such as miscommunicating starts being less, and there seems to be more gratitude, there seems to be more thankfulness. God, about 2 weeks ago, I think it was, literally I just woke up one Sunday morning and I could just hear the birds singing, and I just felt so grateful that I was just able to hear these birds singing, and it was just such a beautiful day that I remember going on to a live stream and just talking about that. And really, although it really benefited a lot of people, and a lot of people sent me some really lovely messages, I realized I was doing it for me, and that's been something that's been quite hard for me to accept over the years, that I could take care of my needs and my wants. And this focusing on yourself and this turning inwards and really identifying what it is that you want and what it is that you're looking to do can lead to a situation where we live, as I said, so much more authentically, we live so much more empowered as well, and we deepen our inquiry into who we actually are. That then makes us see that whatever we're looking for outside ourselves, whether we're trying to help people, or whether we're trying to fix relationships, or trying to communicate effectively, or trying to figure out what realization is, it is all inside us. It's an inside job, and it allows us really to just be more accepting, and be more accepting of the good things in life. And also what I've found is it changes you in the sense that all of a sudden the drama that was there isn't needed as much. You find yourself moving away from conflict, and really there's more peace in your life as you travel more and more inwards and start to see what it is that you want. But then you're also showing up for others as well, but from a place of authenticity, because I think sometimes when we're so wanting to help other people, what we're really not admitting to ourselves is that it's really ourselves that we're looking to help, that we're really out of control. And it's something I see a lot in the spiritual community, of people who are well-meaning but aren't really in that position to help others because they really haven't helped themselves. I used to say back in the day, you know, how can you complete others if you haven't completed yourself? And there has to be a balance between helping ourselves and helping others. But of course, we have to take priority first, because we can't help if our bucket is empty, if, you know, we have no energy. And that's a bit of a misnomer, because the spiritual community really does seem to want to be out there to change things and help people and make it a better world. But, you know, I'm reminded of a Rumi quote, and I believe it's Rumi. You know, instead, when I was young, I wanted to change the world, but as I've got older, I've realised it's enough that I change myself, because we then realise that we've become the change that we want to see in the world. The world appears friendlier, the world appears more abundant, the world appears more loving. And it's really because our internal state has changed, because we're reconnecting with ourselves, we're ending that duality, we're ending that separation, we're looking at the issues that hold us back. And we find that sometimes things aren't as bad as they actually are. It's been interesting. I've been recently reading about twin flames, and I was drawn to this whole idea of the reunion stage. And what's really interesting is it really just happens when there's just this love for yourself, there's this self-love, and that you're not projecting your insecurities, or you're not projecting your needs onto somebody else. That's all I say, well, you've got to make me happy. And you see that in the spiritual community. You know, we're projecting what we want onto a guru or onto a sheikh, and saying that, well, you know, you've got to fix me, you've got to heal me. And I think this is, or, you know, we project it onto a pointer that we've got to sound a certain way, or we've got to act a certain way. And in that sense, we stay stuck, because we're always looking for something outside ourselves. Even though we hear things like, it is just, you know, or within you, it's whether we can actually take that journey inwards by focusing on ourselves, by really looking to make ourselves, you know, number one in our lives, looking to make ourselves our own personal project, as opposed to trying to fix or heal somebody else. And that can be a really beautiful and empowering place to be, because we then realize that we're not this limited body mind, we're not this limited story, and that, you know, we have so much more to offer ourselves and to offer others as well, when we're coming from this place of wholeness, of completeness. And that's, like I said, has been really amazing to see over the last couple of weeks and the last couple of months, as well, as I've noticed that I'm really only meeting myself, and I'm realizing, I remember putting up a quote, you know, everything has been being perceived by you, you are the center, or words to that effect. And when we see that everything that we're perceiving and everything that we're seeing is occurring from this place of here, we can then rest in this place of here and really just explore the terrain and explore who we truly are. And as I said, that leads to authenticity, that leads to gratitude, that leads to love and a real joy in everything that we do. But then consequently, it seems to help others as well. You know, I was asked at a talk, you know, by one of the attendees about what he could do to fix his relationship. And I was like, well, literally fix yourself first. Because sometimes we realize that it is ourselves that we need to fix before we go out trying to fix other people. And sometimes we don't need to fix anybody else. It's enough to fix ourselves. And again, even the term fixing as well isn't quite appropriate, because really it's not fixing, it's just really realizing and allowing ourselves to be who we are, allowing whatever comes up to come up. This whole idea of acceptance has been coming up more and more for me, and I'm finding that things that I was shying away from, that I thought were really hard, that I couldn't possibly do that. In this acceptance, in this going inwards, I'm discovering more and more about who I actually am, and that's a wonderful place to be. So I think if we're looking to heal others, or if we're looking to try and save others, or save the world, or go outwards, then we've really got to wonder why we're doing that. And we may find that it's a need within us. There was a lovely conversation I had with somebody a couple of weeks ago, and I remember he does a lot of charity work and a lot of work in the community, and he said something which was shocking but made sense straight away. And he was like, when I do charitable work, I'm doing charitable work for me. And it was just honesty, that look, I'm doing this because this makes me feel good. And yes, okay, the byproduct may be that all these people benefit from it, but it is really about me. It's about what I want to do. And although that can be seen as selfishness, and I think that's where there's a misunderstanding about it, it's really, really an authentic place to work from. And if you really want to help others, then we have to start with ourselves. You know, we have to, as so many people have heard, be the change that we want to see in the world. And that's an amazing place to be, because what we find is that that constant inquiry, that constant exploration into who we truly are never ends. So yes, I suppose you know, that's what I wanted to say about that. I'm excited, obviously, to share my insights as they progress, and somehow, for some strange reason, you know, this seems to be the format. But what I'm finding is the conversations that I'm having with others in real time, that I'm having with myself, are really just pointing inwards, pointing into a deepening. You know, there was a beautiful saying that was told to me at one of my talks, where somebody said it's being the Buddha and becoming the Buddha. And I thought that was absolutely beautiful, because there is just now, and there's a deepening in now as well. So recognize your inherent nature as the Buddha, but realize also that we're becoming the Buddha. And in that sense, realization is constant. It's always revealing itself to itself, and yet it's all happening in this place of now. And if we can accept that paradoxical nature of that statement, we can be in that place of balance. And in that place of balance, we realize that we are the center. We are the center that is perceiving everything. And then there's a collapse of that center, in the sense that there is anybody here who could be this center. And then we realize it's just this. And this, however it is expressing itself, is absolutely perfect. And that's such a wonderful place. And that's home. And that's who we actually are. So thank you so much for watching the video. Have a wonderful day, whatever you're doing. And I look forward to meeting you on the next video.